We had Nick in 1980.
December of 1980.
1980. Our doctor at the time came in the room and he sat down on the bed and put his hand on my knee, and he had tears running down his face.
And told us what Nick's condition was.
Tricuspid atresia, missing the tricuspid valve, three-chamber heart. We can do a few surgeries to keep him alive.
Until about 7 years old.
Until about 7.
I was blessed with pretty amazing parents who had a child born that they weren't expecting to be sick.
And we grabbed each other's hands and we said, there is no way we're going to let this baby and our kids down. We're going to do this together.
I think the amazing part about it, growing up as a young guy in that situation, is I didn't know I was sick.
The one thing that we always thought was, well, he may not be an athlete and he may not be able to run and jump, but he's going to be smart and he's going to have a big heart, and those are the things we'll keep reinforcing with him.
Spent time growing up in the hospital and a lot of doctor's appointments and stuff like that. But it wasn't until my first day of kindergarten and I started seeing all the other 5-year-olds. And I realized then that as they were running around playing and kind of bouncing off the walls, that I didn't have that energy, that I couldn't do that. I'm the one that's different. I'm the one that's sick. And it's kind of the first time you admit it to yourself.
We noticed he was just getting bluer and bluer and more tired.
The Fontan procedure was, that was the big one for my family.
They had done it once up in Duluth for a young girl, and they told us that she didn't make it.
I didn't fully understand what was going on.
So we had to kind of talk about it as a family and
That was a hard decision.
Hard.
I knew that it was risky, and I knew that I was sick, and that this was going to make me feel better. The night before the surgery, every family member came to see me that night.
And they had told us that Nick's chance of making it through this Fontan procedure would have been about 20%.
They were going to fix my heart. I was going to be pink instead of blue, because up until that point, I wasn't getting enough oxygen out to my body. This was going to be my chance to look healthy.
And I don't know what kind of miracle we deserved, but we got one.
One of the biggest memories that I'll have for the rest of my life is being in the intensive care unit. My mom was going through her purse and got her mirror, and my dad held up my hand.
And he looked gorgeous to us.
And my lips, they were pink. They weren't blue. And I couldn't speak because of the breathing tube yet, but tears just streamed. And at that point, at 7 years old, that's when I knew. That's when I knew I was going to be okay. A few days after the surgery, when they took out the breathing tube and I was able to talk during the surgery, they hit a socket of nerves in my chest. It paralyzed my right vocal cord, and so that makes my voice a little softer. As a little boy, I was so just ashamed of. I would have never guessed that having one vocal cord and a voice like this would make for someone that can be a public speaker.
And to this day, even when he speaks on the floor at the Capitol, the room just, it quiets right down.
That third open heart surgery provided me with the miracle of life and the opportunity to live. And hey, if the consequence of that is I sound different than other people, what a small price to pay. Probably the hardest part, I spent 2 years, between 14 and 16 years old, on a transplant waiting list.
He would reject like 90% of all old hearts, they said. So it was like finding a needle in a haystack.
We did a ton of experimental things. They put a line through my chest and they were taking blood in and out and trying to lower the immune system and trying to find a heart that wouldn't match. I did months of chemotherapy.
And he was so sick. He stopped eating. He was literally starving.
My mom moved into the hospital, didn't leave once for 6 months. I was tested or cross-matched for 16 different hearts. They none of them matched.
When Dr. Stone called and asked us to come in for a family meeting to talk about a potential option that wouldn't have anything to do with the transplant, where they had done a heart reduction on part of the muscle, and they thought that that might be something that could prove effective for Nick. A very short period of time after that, and surgery was scheduled, and amazingly,
it went well.
It went very well, and Nick was like a new kid after that for quite some time.
The scariest time I've ever had is when, for a few weeks and a few months, as a 15-year-old kid, I didn't think there was hope. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. The amazing thing about growing up in a small town like Elk River and moving away to college and then coming back, it's still that small town feeling. Talk about just quintessential Minnesota, and whether I'm in a parade at Spudfest in Big Lake or going to downtown Elk River to the River's Edge Park, which is one of my first votes on the Elk River City Council, I'm able to come home and to a group of people that dedicated so much of their time asking my family how they can help. Now I'm in a position where I get to go to them and say, how can I help? That's the miracle. Makes me smile, makes me proud. Proud to live in Elk River, proud to represent Big Lake and Elk River, not Seago. Every day I do wake up and I do feel well. I know this is the day. This is the day I'm going to change the world. And that's my goal for the day. And just amazed that out of everything, this is my blessed life.